First, though, our top story this half an hour. Wikileaks is publishing more than 8,000-page trove of CIA documents. They detail the agency's hacking tools, including the ability to turn computers, smartphones, and TV sets into surveillance devices or covert microphones, even when they're turned off. Joining us right now is a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and ranking member of the subcommittee on the CIA, Congressman Eric Swalwell. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So these leaked files include redacted notes about CIA targets throughout Latin America, Europe, and the United States. How devastating is this breach?
Well, I'm not going to go too much into leaked documents, but any leak like this certainly threatens our national security. And what I'm waiting to hear is our president condemn the leaks. You know, he told us throughout the campaign that he loves Wikileaks, as they were helping the Russian government, as they were helping Donald Trump during the campaign. So he had time over the weekend to tweet about The Apprentice. So now I think a lot of us are wondering, when is he going to tweet or speak publicly to condemn what just happened this past weekend?
Well, I think he is very concerned about the leaks. I mean, he actually said that a couple of weeks ago. He was very...
Not about these.
Not about Wikileaks, but he was very upset about the leaks happening within the intelligence agency. Are the intelligence agencies undermining this president, sir?
No, I think any leak certainly should be investigated. And on our committee, that is part of our investigation into the Russian interference. It's what Russia did during the election, whether any U.S. persons were involved, and also investigating some of the leaks that have come out recently. That's important to chase down. But I think it is telling that the president so far has not come out and said a single word about what WikiLeaks has allegedly done.
All right, let me ask you this. As part of your Russia investigation, are you also investigating whether or not the president was wiretapped and bugged during the election?
It's a reckless claim from the president, but certainly he has invited us to have an investigation into that, and I think it's important for the American people that we clear this claim up. I would actually wish we could see Director Comey get his wish, which it was reported that he would like the DOJ to clear this up. But this was an effort by the president to deceive and deflect. It was nothing more than that, and so far it's been backed up by zero evidence.
But why is it a reckless claim? I mean, you know, we all know that if there were reasons to wiretap someone on his team because of relationships with Russia, they could have done that very easily, and in the process capture Donald Trump's conversations as well. So why is that reckless?
It's actually not done very easily. When something like that occurs, it requires the Department of Justice working with the FBI to have a federal judge sign off on that. And what he's actually doing is he's eroding America's confidence in our FISA courts. And our FISA courts are where we go to get these types of permissions so that we can do what we need to do to take down terrorists across the globe. And so now he is undermining the FISA court, and that is reckless.
Did the Obama administration undermine it more because it expanded the power of the NSA to share communications with the government's other 16 intelligence agencies? He did that in the final days of his presidency. That means many more officials can search through raw data. Could this be by design to make the Trump administration look like it does not have control over government agencies? Did the President Obama, undermine the Trump administration by doing that?
I think that's a stretch. And, you know, President Obama was very measured and reserved during the transition. He went out of his way to try and make Donald Trump as successful as possible as he took over the reins of our government. And what does he get in return? He gets President Trump defaming him. How did that make the president more successful? By allowing all the agencies to share information. How did that make the president more successful? Well, if you remember, after September 11, the biggest problem was that the agencies weren't sharing enough information and that there was stovepiping. And so it's a belief among many intelligence officials that when we share more and we know more, we're able to protect more.
Congressman, it's Julie Roginski. Do you have confidence that your own committee can really investigate the Russian hacking allegations independently, or do you think we need a 9/11-style commission to get to the bottom of this?
I've written the legislation calling for a 9/11-style commission with Elijah Cummings, and every Democrat supports it. One Republican, Walter Jones, is on board. I worked with the co-chair of the 9/11 Commission, Lee Hamilton, to write the bill, because I think we need to understand how were we so vulnerable, which U.S. persons were involved, and make recommendations so it never happens again. It's too politicized in Congress, and the best way to depoliticize it is to take it outside of Congress.
Congressman, the subcommittee that you're on, though, is is responsible. It's part of the checks and balances to make sure that the CIA is run properly. And after Julian Assange and after Edward Snowden, given these recent leaks out of the CIA, why is it such a leaky ship? And where has your subcommittee been on this?
Yeah, and Edward Snowden was from the NSA, and this one we certainly need to run down to see whether this was a hack or a leak. You know, right now it's only alleged that it was a leak, but it's certainly, we know the capabilities of the Russian government and other adversaries that it also could have been a hack. So that should be a part of our investigation.
Congressman, do you have any doubt whatsoever that the Russians hacked into our election institutions? Because the president's been sort of casting doubt on it. I want to just clarify, do you, as a member of the intelligence community committee, have any doubt whatsoever that the Russians were responsible for this?
Not a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
Responsible for what? President Trump winning the election? Responsible for what?
Well, hacking, I would think hacking, right, Congressman?
Are you saying that the president that Donald Trump would not be the president today?
Well,
Russia ordered these attacks, and it wasn't just hacking. It was social media trolls. It was fake news dissemination. It was Russia Today and broadcasting propaganda through that. It was tearing down Hillary Clinton's credibility and lifting up Donald Trump. There were no vote tallies changed, and I've been very clear about that.
How did they lift up Donald Trump? He had so many negatives during the election, from the tape to the stuff that he said. He kept getting in front of himself. Could it actually be that more Americans wanted Donald Trump to win over Hillary Clinton? I mean, this whole idea of Russia hacking the election is an attempt to delegitimize Donald Trump. He won fair and square. Do you admit that?
Donald Trump is our president.
Do you admit he won fair and square?
No vote tallies were changed, but he was assisted by the Russian government, and that is not disputed by anyone.
How was he assisted by the Russian government? Where is your evidence?
Yeah, so if you have two horses in a race and you have an outsider tripping up one of the horses, you are helping the other horse win.
So it wasn't her doing by having a private server in her basement and basically being very casual and not professional with national secrets? You don't think that had anything to do with Hillary Clinton's loss?
Russia assisted the president through hacking of documents, through putting out fake news, through its propaganda. No vote tallies were changed. And I think we need to be clear about that, because that has not come out yet, and I don't believe it will. But
what about Hillary Clinton's relationship with the Russians, how she sold 20% of the U.S.'s uranium? Do you think that weighed on people's minds? Do you think the way she behaved by not giving any interviews, by not doing the debates on days when people were watching, do you think her trustworthiness, do you think that's part of the reason she lost? This attempt to delegitimize the presidency and why Donald Trump won is just outrageous. You need to understand he won and why he won.
He did win, and it's not an effort to delegitimize the president. It's an effort to delegitimize any country's efforts to try and meddle in our elections.
But you still haven't told me how they've done that. What's the evidence that they meddled in our election? Where is it?
You should read the public report that the intelligence agencies put forward, that they use social media trolls, that they use Russia Today, their broadcasting company, that they hacked Democratic documents through Wikileaks and Guccifer 2.0, put them out there to tear down Hillary Clinton and lift up Donald Trump.
But the RNC was also, they attempted to hack the RNC as well, but they didn't penetrate. How much responsibility should Hillary Clinton hold for treating national secrets the way that she did? Did that make the DNC more vulnerable?
And what this is about is looking at another country interfering in our elections. We should look forward, because the public
for fact. You know, everybody's asking for fact about why Donald Trump said that President Obama wiretapped him, and yet we're not asking for facts about this whole Russia narrative, which the Democrats have been riding now for months, and we still don't know what the evidence is.
Look, the evidence comes from the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA. And if you don't believe our own intelligence officials, and you believe there's a massive conspiracy...
It's not that I don't believe it, Congressman. I haven't seen the evidence. Can you provide that?
Yeah, it's actually on our website, and it's the public report that was put out, and it's pretty damning.
It's not on the website. That's not true, Congressman.
Yeah, visit our website.
I have. Go ahead, Jack Brewer.
Congressman, has the Clinton Foundation, did that get shut down? I need to understand this, because if you look back, I mean, yes, everyone who voted for Donald Trump or you voted for Hillary Clinton, you knew there were allegations of Russia meddling during the time of the election. But things have come out, now truth has been told, and from what I understand now, the Clinton Foundation is no longer functioning.
I can't speak to that. And
well, why would they no longer be functioning?
My focus is that if we do nothing, this is open season for future elections, because there's other adversaries who have the capabilities that Russia has. And Republicans should not be so short-sighted to think that this cannot happen to them. This is a time for us to band together. I was an intern in this town on the day September 11th happened. I remember watching Republicans and Democrats join hands on the Capitol steps after that attack, and we need to do that now to say that we'll never tolerate foreign interference.
Are you saying that the Trump administration met with officials in Russia to try to come up with some plan to win the American election? Is that what you're proposing?
No, what I'm proposing is that right now there were prior existing business, political, and personal ties between people in Donald Trump's orbit and Russia. And what we need to find out, and what we need to get
Nancy
to the bottom
Pelosi and the Russians? What about Senator Schumer? We've all seen the pictures recently, all these secret meetings that they've had over the years.
Yeah.
Why do you jump to this narrative about Russia and think everybody's just going to get on board? People are not on board, Congressman. We want evidence.
Yeah, and you're referring to public meetings that no one, that the press was invited to. What I'm talking about is, as Russia was attacking us, people were meeting with its ambassador.
Attacking us how, Congressman? How did Russia attack us?
Through their interference campaign. And if Jeff Sessions had nothing to hide, why did he lie twice under oath? If Mike Flynn had nothing to hide, why did he lie to the vice president? That's a consciousness of guilt. And again, you're relitigating the past election, and I want to focus on future elections.
Congressman, good to have you on the program.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Congressman Eric Swalwell. We'll be right back.